let's speak a bit more practically. Can you walk us through a simple, effective method for tracking festive season spending to avoid going into debt?
Okay. Yeah. No, I think that's a very important question. And for me, I would also liken that to, like when you walk into a supermarket,
Yes.
like ShopRite, you see someone with a trolley, and they are moving from aisle to aisle and just picking everything that caught
Whatever
their
they say.
whatever caught their eye. For me, I would look at that as a bit irresponsible, but it's also possible that maybe that person mentally they've got a plan, they know what they want
They know
to
what they're
get.
doing,
Because
yes,
sometimes we do get the same things, but I admire those people who would have a list, and as they get something, they tick. So meaning they've planned for it. So now, personally, as an individual, what I do is I hate being broke.
I think we all do.
I hate being broke. And being broke, believe me or not, has got nothing to do with the level of your income.
Right.
It's got nothing. Somebody
Right.
can be earning, let me just give maybe some statistics. Somebody can be earning 10,000 kwacha.
Right.
They can be broke. Someone can be earning 40,000 kwacha. They will be
They
broke.
can still be broke. Yeah.
Someone can be earning 200,000 kwacha.
Yes.
They'll still be
They'll still
broke.
be broke,
Yeah.
yes,
So the key is to ensure that as you get your income, you kind of be deliberate about budgeting. You say, okay, this is my income. What do I want to spend this income on? Of course, you put in the important things that you need to spend on. This. And of course, we should also be deliberate about saving for a rainy day. Savings, you put it in there. Maybe what remains is what you can say, okay, this one, I don't care how I blow it, but you've planned for it. And I think for me, if you work like that, where for anything you get, it must have been planned for. And of course, you can't plan for every eventuality.
Yes.
So in your planning, in your budgeting, you must also leave room for contingencies and so forth. But the key that I'm trying to drive at is that there must be planning. You cannot just spend. Like, for instance, let me give an example. Let's say I've got a building project.
Yes.
And I know that I need to maybe I'm putting a roof, or I want to paint or something like that.
Yes.
If I plan for that expenditure, when I go to a shop that has got materials, I know that I'm spending from what I've planned for.
What I've planned for.
I'm
yes.
not just walking in there blind. I don't even know how much it costs. I just get, and all of a sudden, I am broke. Yeah. Yeah. So the key for me is being intentional and
Yes.
being serious. And also, like for instance, as I said, I personally, I plan for all my expenditure. Initially, I would write out everything, but sometimes I get to a stage where mentally I know that as long as I sort out that, the things that remain are kind of, or maybe I would say, is what I can use for maybe other things and
Yes,
so forth.
yes,
But
yes,
the
yes.
key is not to just spend anyhow, but to
Anyhow,
plan.
yeah.
And on this aspect, what I also say is that what we spend is normally driven by what we earn. I normally like giving an example of a gentleman who lived, I think, in the 18th century. Most of the people in the Baptist circles or in the Wesleyan circles, in the Brethren in Christ and so forth, they may have come across a gentleman called John Wesley.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
I think I did read the biography of John Wesley a long time ago when I was in school. One thing I got from there is that it is said of him that he was earning an income of, for argument's sake, £35 a month. That was his salary. Then one day, his employers decided to increase his salary to £100. Now, for most of us, so for John Wesley, with the £35 he was earning, he was spending within £35.
Within
Maybe
that
he was
35,
spending
yeah.
32, 33 pounds
Right.
in a month. Now, for most of us, when the salary goes to 100,
Yes.
our expenditure also moves with it.
Yes,
we
yes,
we
yes,
start spending
yes.
maybe
My dreams would come true.
yes, yeah, £95 or something like that. But one principle I learned from John Wesley is that even with that, he never changed his expenditure pattern. He still remained disciplined to spend within the 35 pounds, and that extra 65, he just used it for ministry.
Wow.
Yeah. So now, when I look at that and I look at, say, maybe examples from my own early life, I do recall at some point where this thing of the point I'm making that expenditure, or sorry, income drives our expenses, but
Yes.
it should not be that way. We should be deliberate about what we want to spend on. An example I can give is when I completed my grade 12, I went to college on a scholarship.
Yes.
Now, with that scholarship, we were being given a monthly salary. So because we're being given a monthly salary, there are certain things like, not as students, things like bread,
Yes.
butter, jam, powdered milk, I remember juice and so forth. Those we considered them necessities because we
Yes.
could afford them
Yes.
from the allowance we were getting.
Yes.
Then I think maybe 6 months into the scholarship, the circumstances of our sponsors changed, and there was some cost cutting, restructuring,
yes.
and we were put on a program where we were not earning a monthly salary,
Right.
but we were getting like a lump sum at the beginning of the year. So meaning throughout the month there was no income coming in. Believe it or not, just on our own, we basically rationalized certain things and said things like, okay, so bread. It's not a necessity to have bread because in the morning when we go for breakfast, they give us a big chunk of bread.
Yes,
So
yes,
you can
yes, yes.
eat part of it, the other bit you can have it at night,
Yeah.
when you're having your teas. Then juice, we're like, no, it's not even healthy. We can have water, which was readily available.
Yes.
Yeah, so we cut out quite a number of things.
Things,
And
yes.
we didn't die.
Yeah, you were, you were surviving,
Yeah, we
yeah.
survived. And in fact, actually, for me, I've also used that. Like over my career, I have changed jobs, and sometimes with a change of job comes with an uplift in the earnings.
Yes.
I've tried as much as possible during those transitions. I don't disturb my expenditure. That would allow me to create what I might call money I can invest. So the point I'm trying to make is that we need to be deliberate about our expenditure. We should not let our expenditure be driven by the income that we are earning.
Right. Yeah. Another side step. Would you say you obviously hold a senior position where you are. Would you say because of all the budgeting that you do in the bank, making sure the business is safe, does that sort of guide your personal planning or anything like that?
Okay, no, I think it helps.
It helps. Yeah.
It helps, but there are also people in my position
Yes.
earning a lot of money, but they are broke most of the times because they've allowed the extra income they make to drive their expenditure.
Yeah. Right.
Like for instance, you gave I think when we were starting, you said something like, around this time, people get a 13th check, they get a voucher. Sometimes that could be an opportunity for you to like create some sort of financial freedom for yourself, rather than even spend more than the 13th check you're getting.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I think what is coming out from all that you're saying is a high level of discipline.
Yes.
Which a lot of people fail to maintain, whether it's an upturn in earnings, whether it's a downturn in earnings. I've seen people who struggle, when they are no longer in a job that used to give them a little bit more than they need, and now they have to downgrade. There's a bit of a struggle. Whatever the case, discipline must be present.
Yes, I think it's in fact, actually, when we talk of discipline, I recall, I think the other week I was attending a meeting. So I met one of the ambassadors of one of our African country neighbors, and she was basically saying something like, as after this function, we were having a meal, and there was all kinds of food, and she was basically saying, when I travel, I would prefer to be in a place like this because I can eat as much as I want. But if you go to the house, and she was referring to like a rich person,
Yes.
you go to the house of a rich person,
Yes.
when it comes to, say, bread, they will just give you 2 slices. Yeah. So like the point was trying to stress is that most of the people we see who are rich, and I think most of us would want to be rich like them,
Yes.
they don't waste money.
Yes,
Even
yes,
coins,
yes.
they account for
They account
coins.
for those,
But for us who are in the middle class, it's like if you've got a little money, everybody else must know through your expenditure.
I've got money. You must know.
Like for instance, you are driving a small car, you've got a little bit of money, you must change your car. You have a big car or something. You are living in a particular neighborhood, income
Yes, yes,
increases,
yes.
you have to move to a posher neighborhood
Yes,
and so
yes,
forth.
yes,
But
yes, yes.
I think for me that's also a bit of lack of discipline.
Yes,
and
yes, yes.
we should guard against
Yes,
it.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Even adopting phrases that Narishi Churida.
Yes.
So I must make sure.
And you know, like the word you've used that
Yes.
Nalish Chudida, I remember a long time ago, a colleague of mine, young in our careers, what used to happen is on payday, we would go to the bank and literally withdraw everything. You know,
Right.
like you don't want to making trips to the bank. You know, like in the olden days, you could keep money in the house or something like
Yes,
that.
yes,
So
yes.
I remember one time after we got paid, we went, so like from the office, we walked to town,
Yes.
withdrew our salaries.
Yes.
Then since now we had money, we can't walk back.
can't-
So we got onto a taxi.
Yes,
We were
yes.
not driving then.
Yes,
We get onto a taxi. So as we get to the office, I remember this conversation vividly. So the taxi driver mentioned the fare. You know, it wasn't like Yango where the fee is known.
it's fixed,
In those
yes,
days, you negotiate.
Negotiate, yes.
Yeah, so the taxi driver mentioned a certain amount. Then this friend of mine kind of negotiated hard for that amount to be
To
be
be lowered,
reduced
yes,
to a point where the taxi driver like kind of like felt defeated. Like, okay, it's okay.
You know, at least,
Yeah. So now, when paying the taxi driver, this gentleman removed almost like his entire salary, and then he was selecting. From there.
Yes,
Then the taxi driver was like, boss, even if you are negotiating, you've
got
got all
that
that
money that you have there,
And then
yeah.
and then he moved aside and says, "You, this money I have worked for it. I can't just be giving
can't just
it
give it out for free,
Yeah,
yes.
so
It
for
didn't come free.
so for me, that's also discipline. Don't waste money.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just so funny how our culture kind of also influences these, others will say, uliawaka so, small things like that
Yeah.
kind of tend to,
Yeah.
unfortunate, but yeah, it is what it is,